At Opera Sonic, we already take part in the Lullaby project, where we pair musicians up with families to create a bespoke lullaby for that family. We really wanted to look at that process and see how we could not just make it accessible for families with a deaf member, but really centre those families in the process. We've spoken to deaf artists, deaf musicians, deaf BSL consultants, and brought them in to lead the process.
The Lullaby project is a project first set up by Carnegie Hall, and it aims to strengthen the bond between caregivers and their babies or their children. What we're doing in this process is a little bit different, as we're trying to make it accessible to deaf families and hard of hearing families. As a deaf musician, I've mostly been providing music. We have people who work closely with BSL and interpreting that and helping to put lyrics into sign singing. And we also have professional musicians, professional deaf musicians, and also Helen, our main project leader, who actually went to Carnegie Hall and studied the process there.
I started working for Opera Sonic on the Lullaby project, with them sending me off to New York to do the training with Carnegie Hall. There were specific ways, like getting parents to write a letter to their baby before starting on the songwriting, which was a beautiful way to start.
We've been looking at different instruments. We're finding that low instruments, such as the bass guitar, and amplified instruments that we can plug into an amp, tend to have a lot more vibrations, therefore are a lot more effective for people who are profoundly deaf, as they can feel it, and they therefore feel much more included. We've also been looking at ways to try and preserve the feelings that people get from the lullaby. So at the moment we've been discussing perhaps bringing in art and allowing them to creatively express the feeling of the lullaby onto paper, which they can then take home and look at later and remind them of that feeling.
What makes this project interesting is that it's led by deaf people. We as deaf people understand what it means to be deaf. We have an empathy, a shared understanding of what's important to us. We can appreciate varying experiences that deaf people have with music. Some will be more au fait with music and some may have no experience at all. So we can tailor-make this project to those diverse experiences, and that's why it's important for this to be deaf-led. I mean, that's why we're here.
We invited in lots of different families to come and give us some feedback and really kind of respond to the work that we've been doing. So we tried out some of the exercises and some of the music and the games with them, and they then had the opportunity to give us their feedback and tell us what was working and what wasn't working.
My daughter is very kind of lively and she doesn't like to sit down for very long, but as soon as they were getting involved in the music side of things, just making some beats, something simple like that, you could see she just calmed straight away.
We've been talking for so long, it was great to actually have an opportunity to have a family in the space. An interesting experience. Oh, the baby's reaction to the gamelan instruments was just wonderful, very heartwarming.
And really excitingly now, the project's going to continue because we're going to be working over 10 weeks with the same families to create their own song with our deaf musician.